It's morning here in the mountains of Pennsylvania. And in this episode, I want to talk about the wow factor. Because every guitar has a wow factor. That wow factor is when you walk into the music store and there it is hanging on the wall and you're just going, wow. Now please remember, when you go into a music store, you see something you really like, it's always way more respectful, polite, to ask the gentleman behind the counter if you can see it. Again, you're just opening up that door of respect. You'll see you're going to get a lot more cooperation with your store attendant as well. So let's go back to the wow factor. Wow, look at that guitar. That's the first one. Wow, look at that guitar. The next one is you pick it up. Wow, that's heavy. Or wow, that's light as a feather. Or wow, my porridge is just right. Okay? It's your next wow factor. And then you're also, the next wow would be the neck. Well, how's that neck? Oh, is it a slim shredder neck? Is it a mellow C? And again, that's going to be your preferences, what you're used to, what you like to get used to, what feels comfortable. Now again, like I said, I'm going to try and take opinions and stick to nothing but facts. It is a fact. The thinner necks are going to be much more of a shredder neck for you, especially if you're younger players developing your hand. Everything's a little closer together. I see that as a fact. The thin necks are very easy. You can play bar chords on them all day. But again, neck profile is totally opinion. It's what you like or what you're used to switching. I like switching. I have some big neck guitars. I don't mind switching. I find that action height and the feel of the frets is more important than the thickness or shape. I can play any one of them. Okay, so that's your next wow, is the feel of the neck. Then the wow after that is action height. Where are the strings? How high are the strings setting up off the neck? I know we're not going to be able to do any close-ups, but you should know what you're looking at far as that, and then what is in that acceptable range. Again, sometimes people get into preference. It's my opinion that they should be high. It's my opinion they should be low as hell. Again, stick to what you like, and then that's your fact. That's how you like to have them set up. Now remember, if you haven't tried or played a great guitar with a great setup, a great leveling, and great sound unplugged, then you don't really have anything to judge by. Again, we're trying to lose judgment, but you have, in this case, you have to play something that's fantastic to understand what's not so fantastic. Because a lot of people, just don't have that amount of time playing mass quantities of guitars and hearing the difference. So I want to be inspirational for you to try that. Try as many guitars as you can. Feel as many guitars as you can. Know what the action should be. Anywhere's on the Fender guitar, we're looking at 4 to 5 64ths, 3 64ths to the center, so I'll be tapering that. And then in the 4 club for the high E too. Okay, so then usually your next wow factor is, ooh, let's plug it in. But I'm going to put the brakes on that and go, no, let's look at everything first. Okay, a lot of people the first thing you want to look at is the finish, right? Everybody's concerned about the finish. Well, this one's like brand new. They only made this one year, I believe, 2017. This one's like hardly touched. It's the Mexican Jimi Hendrix Monterey Pop Strat. Okay, but Okay, so the finish is good. Now let's go right to mechanics. And first thing I'm going to look for is how is the neck and the string centered. This is one string laying off the neck. Do I have equal spacing on the low E to the high E? Are the dots running right down the center? Then I look at this one and it's like, yep, that's pretty close. All right, then I'm also going to look at the nut. I look at the nut spacing. Are they all nice and equal? Is this the wider spacing that's done on the American instruments? Or is it a narrower spacing? A lot of times with the Squire, and then even the old Mexicans, the wood width is exactly the same on American, Mexican, or sometimes Squire. It's the string spacing that is not. It's like they are making these again for smaller people, right? So they put them a little tighter together. Well, when you're bigger people, tighter together doesn't really work. So this spacing is very critical to me. I have to have it wide. I got pretty big fingers here. All right, next we're going to look at everything lines up here. Look at the back of the tuners, right to the head. They all look good. They're clean, they're straight, nothing's bent. I also like to look at this. You can see these vintage style tuners, the string comes down, well, you're not going to see, but the string comes down nice and close to the top head face. Right, I've got nice down angle here. We have a spacer in the high tree, right, because too much down angle here is not going to help us with the whammy bar at all. But significant is what you see here. I'm also going to look at the arch of that. Does it arch off nice? Then look at the arch of the strings laying on it. You're going to have to pull it up at the right angle and see that all the strings are the same. You don't have one that's jumping up. A lot of times you'll see that, the G string. A lot of these are just, you know, banged out. So that's one thing that's very important, because it's going to have a major effect on how it feels. Okay, so that's the head. Moving on down, I'm going to go right to the bridge and then physically look at it with the strap bridge. Are the strings centered in all the saddles? Okay, they're coming up clean. The guy who strung it made sure they stayed where they're supposed to. This one came to slide around. Okay, and then I'm going to look at also pole pieces. Do the pickups line up sweet? Here the bridge pickup is perfect. Here this is pretty good. And then here I'm starting to get on the inside of the poles with my high strings. Sometimes that can make a major effect with this high string, especially because you're bending it away from the pole. That can, depending on the guitar and the pickup. Now here also I look at pickup height. If any of them set like way up there, you should be able to play the last note on the low string and none of the pole pieces are touching the string. Same with the last note on the high E string, and you have to look across to make sure none of the poles are touching the string. It's just going to fret it out. Now really I found that you can look into magnetic strength. It's getting a little out of hand this day and age. So these pickups are getting lower and lower. So this one you can see it's almost flush with the pickguard. That's where it works best. What happens is magnets are pulling the string into a fret rattle. If I raise this up, you'll hear it, but I'm sure you can experiment with your guitar, especially this pickup on a Fender, because it's easy to move the string here. Start lowering that down and you'll hear it clean up. Okay, so pickup height, that, look at the controls, it looks like everything works. So there's your wow factor before even plugging it in. All of them. Look at it. Wow, is the nut right? Yeah, wow, that's great. Wow, the string tree's in. Yeah, everything. Wow, that's awesome there. Look down here. Whoa, that's cool. Pickup alignment. Awesome. fretboard to string alignment. Awesome. Now let's hear how it sounds acoustically. I'm listening to it acoustically. I don't know if it's going to come out with this microphone or not. We'll find out. But this is pretty nice. And then how does it play that old power cowboy E? And does it vibrate in your body? Is your hand going nuts? Can you feel it in the head? This one, oh yeah, she's vibrating. I can actually feel it in my hand. Okay, that's, I haven't even plugged it in yet. And the whammy works fine on it as well. I hope you found these wows helpful. Peace, brothers.